all I'm doing now is trying to allocate capital as efficiently as possible. So I'm just looking at the cross pairs. So I'm looking at the Sol ETH cross. And even though I think ETH goes up a lot, I love ETH, I just think Sol goes up more. So I'm trying to be as effective as possible without going too far out the risk curve and having it all in dog with hat, which chart versus everything else looks incredible, as does Doge, bizarrely. I mean, Doge looks like it looks like that's about to explode. And it did exactly this time last cycle around as well. This is the kind of classic dog season. So, you know, it usually goes from this DeFi season, which we had, you know, a few months ago. Then the attention goes into meme season, and then it really goes into the kind of layer ones, layer twos, that kind of stuff.
Well, I happened to see this story in passing. Elon Musk forecast DogeCoin payment option for buying Tesla cars at some point. So this literally happened, right? He said this, and it was in his own factory, not in an interview. I think he sort of said it in passing. And I want to quickly, you always share your theses with me. I came up with a thesis here on this show on Tuesday, and that was that people keep asking, why aren't we getting mainstream attention and FOMO, Bitcoin, new all-time highs? And my new theory is that we don't get mainstream FOMO until Doge makes an all-time high, because that's the token that everybody bought and is still underwater on.
I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right, and ETH as well. You know, there's everybody from the NFT cycle, everything else. I think I mean, you're right. I mean, it hasn't really affected retail yet. Yes, it's got the degen crowd, those of us who are in the market and remained in the market, but we haven't sucked in. I mean, I'm not really getting messages from my friends. You know, the only thing I'm getting is, well, you should sell some of your positions soon. You know, I'm still getting some concerned friend faces. And I'm not really getting, hey, you know, what should I be doing here? And that phase is still to come. It's bizarrely quiet. But also, don't forget, the economy is actually still not very strong. It's still pretty lackluster. And certainly on a global basis, it's not very strong. So people haven't got a lot of spending money either. So they're not throwing money around. It's just those of us who have been in crypto, because our economy is expanding. We've all got money to throw around. But, you know, outside in the normie economy, there's no money to throw around, I think.
Yeah, it's just my feeling that as much as we'd like to believe that the masses came in for Bitcoin last cycle, they came in for Doge and they came in for NFTs when it was on Saturday Night Live, right? And those things are still massively underwater and suffering. So those people are not going to pay attention while they're massively underwater. They're just not. They're not going to care.
No, there was somebody posted a really interesting thought about Doge. I mean, my own theory on Doge is, I think Elon, he loves the whole game, and once it's starting to get kind of dog season excitement, he will think about doing something with Twitter payments and stuff with Doge just for the hell of it, just because it irritates people. So I think he'll do that. But I think you're right. A lot of people have been investing in Doge, and the interesting theory around was that right now, if you're somebody coming from the outside world, you're hearing about all of these kind of meme coins. You look into it, you see there's like 50,000 of them. You haven't got a clue. So what do? You probably go to the old dog itself. That kind of makes sense. And it will capture a lot of attention. Also, you know, we forget that a lot of what's being traded is very kind of American slanted, like Zin, right? Nobody else in the world knows what Zin is. It's an American product. So really, you need something that's got universal appeal, and Doge has. And the other thing about Doge is they are trying to send this rocket ship to the moon and up into space, right? With Doge having the Doge Foundation having sponsored it. I mean, dog with hat. I mean, Ansem on Twitter has managed to raise 650 grand to take over the Sphere in Vegas to put dog with hat on it. But, you know, the Doge Foundation is literally sending Doge to the moon, which is even more ludicrous. And so we haven't even hit this peak ridiculousness that's about to come.
Yeah, you have all these people telling you to sell, but my feeling is that that's not your instinct at the moment. I mean, you keep saying, don't fuck this up. You've been saying, don't fuck this up, by the way, before we got the sort of hype cycle even started, right? I mean, you've been saying that when we were kind of in the 20,
So
30,000s
look,
of
I mean, to go
Bitcoin.
back at the bigger picture, this is the biggest macro opportunity we've ever been given, right? This is a wealth generating machine, and people need that break. They need that opportunity to unfuck their future, and this is the big one. So it matters to me. We've all seen it. We've all fucked up in various ways in the past, and we were as you know, and this time around we've got to get it right. We've got to get it right. I think I will be very unhappy if we leave people behind. Now, I know it's going to be terrible at the top and people are going to be pointing fingers at each other. We've gone through that too. But generally, if we can get people up this curve safely in the best way they can, we're going to change people's lives. And I think that really matters.
I want to talk about how we do that, because it's funny to talk about Bonk and Dog with Hat and all of these things. Those are going to have their own mini cycles, most likely, right? A lot of these are going to have their big pop. They're going to drop. People are going to buy the top, sort of mini cycles of that macro cycle you just described. But how should you position for the larger cycle? I mean, that's where you want to just kind of have the bulk of your portfolio, in my opinion, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and do nothing. Right. I talk about this all the time. We see drops from 72,000 to 69,000 on Bitcoin, and you see $500 million liquidated, and those are all people who are right. Those are people who are long. Right? They're long on an asset that's only going up, and they lose all their money.
Yeah, a friend of mine who I won't name, who you know as well, has been a professional trader his whole life, had taken leverage out in Solana, had a wick down. He lost $2 million of his position. And it's like, come on, better. We don't need to do this. The problem is again, at this point in the cycle, we all lose our minds. It's really hard not to. So you start thinking, well, Sol's probably only got an 8x to go and I want to make more money, right? And then you start doing dumb shit. And we've just got to not do that. And I know it's really hard, as you rightly say. Doing nothing is the superpower here. This is not the last cycle. This is not the end of the world. Just, this is a longer game to be played, but just do that. And then when you can, maybe at the end of the year, take a bit of money off the table, cash in a few lifestyle chips, you can then run the rest. And you can run it into a bear market. I ran the entire bear market on purpose because I wanted to add through it and just stay with it. Because you don't know how it's going to go. Is the next time around, is it going to go down 70% or is it going to go down 50%? You've no idea. So the best thing is set your time horizon, take some lifestyle chips off the table at some point, and then you can take all the risk you want.
Listen, I bought every Bitcoin dip on the way down. We went from 69 to 52. I said that could be the bottom. Didn't think necessarily it was. Bought 52, bought 42, bought 32, bought 21, bought 17. Got ridiculed very loudly on Twitter. How dare you not buy the bottom? Same people ridiculing Saylor every time he buys. It's not the bottom. How dare he? Don't recall ever buying any Bitcoin that's not currently in profit.
No. And that's the point. People forget this is not a cyclical market. This is a market in a log uptrend. It's an exponential trend over time. So it covers most sins, which is what's so magical about it. You can buy the high. I mean, I launched a fund of hedge funds in crypto at the absolute peak of the market. And before you know it, every single investor was underwater because the market went down. But, with a long enough time horizon, everybody's back in profit again now. And, it works. You just have to trust the process.